Why quantum physics says there's a multiverse. As you can see, I like the video. You might as well like my video too, show some support for your boy. I think this video gonna
When you
be really
take
interesting.
Einstein's general
I'm
theory
not
of
gonna
relativity, the
lie.
modern theory of gravity,
Correct.
gives us our understanding of the Big Bang
Right.
and all this, all the modern cosmology. Then you have quantum physics,
Okay.
which came out, interestingly, 10 years after general relativity. This is now in the 1920s. Quantum physics is all about molecules and atoms and nuclei and particles. Okay. Those two theories do not play nicely with each other in the sandbox.
I want to know more about why, because I've heard that, about how quantum physics and Einstein's theory of general relativity they can't coexist. I want to know more about why though, because I've heard that before and I've seen certain stuff, but I'm like, I want them to give like in-depth explanations of what things from them both collide. So I hope they talk about that.
Okay.
They each work in their own regimes, but you try to bring them together. They are inconsistent with each other.
Worlds colliding,
Worlds
Jerry.
colliding. It is
Yeah.
figuratively that.
Right.
All right, so now, what happens at the beginning of the universe when the entire universe was the size of an atom? Whose rules are in charge?
Whoa.
You have a shotgun wedding
There you go.
between...
Now, what if? Now, this I'm just saying, right? I'm not saying this is right. Well, I'm theorizing, hypothesizing, as they would say, right? Yeah, but nah. What if at the beginning the quantum rules is what works, and then when things get bigger and bigger and expand more, that's where you get the general theory of relativity and stuff like that. What if the general theory of relativity is more grand scale, and then quantum physics is more like the micro scale? That's what like that. That's I think that's a rational thought to think, unless they already explained why it cannot be like that. You feel me? So I'm open. I'm open to hearing that my hypothesis is wrong. I just want to know why. I like to know why things are how they are. It don't really matter how I feel about it because my feelings don't fucking matter in regards to the truth. So fuck if you feel me? I don't care if niggas say nigga you wrong because it's like this. It's like, oh shit, thanks for letting a nigga know. I'm glad someone told me, nigga. I want to know why. Fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like the shit I be talking about is because I be knowing that shit true. You feel me? I've tested it. I proved. You feel me? But right now, I'm gonna be honest. I can't fully say if what I'm saying is true because I ain't studied, like, I love science, but I haven't studied the in depths of a lot of shit. I know, like, I know general information about every field, but I don't know like the deep in depths and the intricacies and how shit be meshing and coexisting and don't be coexisting. You feel me?
quantum physics and general relativity.
And oh my God.
And all of us are pretty sure that quantum physics wins. And in so doing, quantum physics, where it pops particles in and out of existence, it could pop universes in and out of existence. Whole universes, if the universe is the size of a particle.
Absolutely.
Now, yeah, you see what they said, if the universe is the size of a particle, and I assume they're saying that because the Big Bang is hypothesized to come from one like small singularity, like one, you could say one small particle that expanded into the universe, right? Now the thing is, right, I could understand that, right? But what if the universe was already made from the Big Bang, and then because you had the universe, now you had these different. Because what they're talking about, right, in quantum physics, right? I reacted to a video about quantum field theory, right? I'll drop that shit at some point, but they talked about how in the quantum field theory, you have different quantum fields, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, electromagnetic fields, right? You had electromagnetic fields that could like with certain when certain parts of the field get like excited when it has a lot of energy, it will produce a particle. So you have all these different, because you don't just have electromagnetic fields and stuff like that. There's other fields too. And when you have all these fields, when they get excited, they shoot off a particle. But most of the time, when they're shooting off particles, like for example, electromagnetic fields, when they shoot off a particle, they shoot out photons, right? But photons can't exist if there was no universe where photons exist at. So, like, inside the theory, they don't really mention a field that could have made the Big Bang. Like, I don't, at least not that I know of. From what I've watched in that video, there's no field that could literally make the Big Bang. you know Like all the fields be making shit like fucking for example, photons, neutrons, protons, you know what I'm saying? Shit like that. You feel me? It's not making big bang particles that can expand into every other particle because the big bang is like a small point. It is like a particle, right? But nigga, that's a particle that expands and then manifests other particles like protons, neutrons, all that shit. Now think about it like this. What if that big particle, right? You feel me? You know how it manifests? You know how it expands, and at some point you get protons, neutrons, photons, leptons, shit like that and stuff like that. When you really think about it, nigga, you only got the proton, neutron, da 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 once the shit expanded. What if once the shit expanded, that's where you start to have these different quantum fields that form as space is expanding and stuff like that, and then these fields start to make the particles that we talk about, like the proton, neutron, electron, the leptons and the quarks and shit like that. You feel me? You feel me? What I'm trying to say. So that's why I'm like, why I don't fully get why they're theorizing that the Big Bang could have came from a quantum field, and then I like because they might have a good reason why, but I just don't understand why yet, and that's what's kind of getting me. You feel me? Like I think the Big Bang and quantum field theory coexist as separate things. Like you have the Big Bang. The Big Bang makes these different quantum fields. Those quantum fields make particles. You feel what I'm saying? Then the particles get very grand scale. You know what I'm saying? And then they form as other certain molecules and stuff like that that could eventually form as fucking planets when you get to the end of the fucking cycle. You know what I'm trying to say? And then like I don't know, bro. I'm gonna just see more. You feel me? Because I still have questions that I hope get answered. You feel me?
Absolutely.
So the point is, let's go back in time when the whole universe was the size of a particle.
Right.
What are the rules of quantum physics telling us? They're telling us that multiple universes could be popping in and out of existence.
I don't think there's. I mean, now look. When I left my body and talked to certain beings, they taught me about how the multiverse is just simply different possibilities in different timelines, and I could explain how that ties into quantum field theory too. Because in quantum field theory, right, they can't truly know. Because like, imagine you have this big ass field, right? Let me expand my shit a little bit. You feel me? Ignore the boxes. I'm making a fire soon. I'll be burning boxes and shit along with wood. Anyway, nigga, imagine you have a field that's this shape, right? If this part gets very excited, it's gonna shoot off a particle. If this part gets excited, it's gonna shoot out a particle, right? So it depends on what part of the field has the most energy and gets the most excited, then shoots off a fucking particle like a fucking proton, right? You know what I'm saying? Because what they notice with particles is the fact that particles have a particle state and a field state. A particle state is more definite. It's like, oh, you have a fucking particle. You have a fucking particle that's gonna go right the fuck here. You know what I'm saying? But when it's just a fucking field, you can't really predict fully what part of the field is gonna get excited. So because of that, there's various different possibilities of where the fuck that proton could have came from. You see? And that's where you get the fucking different possibilities of the universe. Because the universe is actually the fucking main place that ties in together all possibilities of all realms. It ties together, and the physical form of realms are just galaxies, you know? It ties in together all possibilities, though. So what that means is the fact that with Schrodinger's cat, on a quantum level, there's a version where the cat's like pretty much they shoot a fucking laser at the fucking cat, right? Before the laser fries the cat, you have to consider all the possibilities of the fact that the cat there's a possibility that the cat was never actually there, depending on how the particles fired from the field, because certain particles make up the fucking cat. You know what I'm saying? Where the fuck did those particles get sprinkled at? You feel what I'm saying? Because depending on where the fuck they're sprinkled at one place there's a fucking cat, and one place there fucking isn't on a quantum level. You see? So with that being said, there's different possibilities for that cat, which we can think about. We could think about those possibilities. At the end of the fucking day, though, if you fucking put a cat in a box and literally shoot a lizard to that bitch, the cat's gonna fucking die. My fault. I think I might have said that wrong. I think there's either there's a box where there's a cat and there's no cat, or there's a box where the laser misses and the laser actually hits. At this point, we should just fucking watch a video about Schrodinger's cat at some point. You feel me? But you get my point. There's a possibility where the cat lives and the cat dies. You feel me? You feel me? But in real life, that cat's either going to fucking live or die. You know? So even though you had those possibilities on a quantum level, one is going to manifest on a physical level. And that's how all possibilities get tied in. Yeah, all the possibilities were fucking considered on a quantum level. The cat might live, the cat might die. Oh my god, we could think about this shit. Holy fuck. Oh my god, what's gonna happen? But once you test it, something's gonna fucking happen. You feel me? And you're going to see all the possibilities were considered, then they tied into that one experience. That's why, and also because I made several videos about the multiverse and stuff like that, about how the multiverse, we can experience it through our fucking mind. When you think about, oh, is the cat gonna live, is the cat gonna die, you're thinking about that inside your mind. You're seeing the possibilities inside of your fucking mind. Your mind is linked to the quantum level of existence, you know. So with that being said, you think about these different possibilities, but then one actually manifests in the physical. You feel me? So I think quantum I think that quantum physics can tell us that there's a there's a infinite amount of possibilities that can manifest inside the universe. I don't think it tells us that we're constantly manifesting different universes. You feel me? You feel what I'm trying to say? But I could be wrong though, and I hope if I am that I get a reason why, and I can actually understand it. Hopefully my little pee-wee brain can comprehend that shit. I'm not gonna fucking cap. You feel me? But yeah.
And we are just one of them.
Gotcha.
Each one with a slightly different law of physics.
Okay.
So there's no limit on how many of these universes there could be. Let's
Even with the separate laws, right? It's like, yeah, there's certain possibilities right now where I'm fucking floating on top of the fucking ceiling. You feel me? But right now it's not manifesting like that. You know, it's possible though, but it's not manifesting like that. That possibility does exist, but it's not a separate It's not a separate universe. It's a separate timeline. And inside these different timelines, you could have different laws of physics. No cap. Shoot, even outside of our galaxy, you might be able to have different laws of physics, bro. No cap.
let's say there's infinite.
Okay.
If there's an infinite, that means there's every possible combination of all particles there ever were.
Exactly, every possibility, not because I know they're trying to say every possibility of a universe and they're different universes, but really it's different possibilities of the universe because the universe is the space where the possibilities manifest at. You feel me? So if we're talking about different possibilities, yeah, there is, but those are different timelines that can manifest within inside the universe. That's how I see it, though. Like I said, if I'm wrong, I hope I get corrected.
Right.
Including combinations of particles with you,
you.
on another universe on a podcast where you have an evil mustache. Well, you already have a mustache.
I already have an
You have
evil
an evil
mustache.
goatee. Well, you
I
already
already have
got
an
it?
evil goatee. Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
there's the nice Chuck.
Right, I was
and
gonna say,
clean
clean-shaven Chuck.
Nice Chuck
Right,
in
exactly.
the other universe.
Right. And he's still a virgin,
Right, nice Chuck is a different timeline.
by the way.
Like, why? I don't get why they have to say it's a different universe. That's what I'm not getting. So I get to try to say that the Big Bang, right, started the universe, right? That's what you're trying to say, right? Big Bang started the universe, right? Okay, cool, right. But why are they considering the Big Bang to be a particle that can manifest from a quantum field if quantum fields didn't exist until you had the universe? You feel me?
So,
That's what I don't get.
people like thinking about this as a means of immortality.
True.
However,
For real?
why would this Chuck, with all your atoms in this way, have any consciousness overlap with the Chuck in the other universe?
None. There would
There's
be.
no reason
There's
to be.
no reason.
For me to think so, because
That Chuck's living his own best
You live-
life.
Well, you could connect by thinking about it, by tapping into the possibility via your mind, but we're not gonna talk about that.
live his own best life.
Right.
You don't.
I mean, no, fuck that, nigga. Let's just do an easy example. Fucking dreams, nigga. Like some dreams be like random, nigga. You ever have a dream where you're living like a whole fucking reality that isn't even fucking real? Like some niggas that have dreams where they're a whole different person. You feel me? Some niggas have dreams where like, yeah, it's them right now, but inside this reality they have a fucking like let's say you're a guy, you might have a girlfriend when in real life you're single, or if you're a girl, you might be single inside the dream where you got a boyfriend in person. You feel me? Or vice versa, whatever the fuck you want to say, right? There's a fucking version. You might have a fucking dream where you have a fucking nice blue car, but in real life it's like a fucking busted down brown car. You feel what I'm trying to say, bro? Like we could technically why would we have a consciousness link? Because we fucking do all the time. When I say fucking, I'm not trying to say it in a sense like this nigga's stupid. And like, no, I don't think he's stupid. I really don't. This nigga probably knows way more about science and physics than me. I'm saying probably. I know for a fact that he's actually a fucking scientist. You feel me? But what I'm saying is, I just don't get I don't get why he's saying what he's saying, but I'm assuming that he has a reason for why he's saying what he's saying, and I kind of want to know the reason instead of just kind of pre-assume why he's saying it. You feel me?
You don't have overlapping consciousness with your twin,
Nope.
and they're in the same damn universe as you.
And
you
if
grew
they're
up with them.
identical, they came from the exact same single cell.
Single cell.
Right.
So if you don't share consciousness,
Oh, they're saying, so why wouldn't twins share consciousness? Because twins are, yes, they're biologically, yes, they could be biologically identical, but the consciousness inside them isn't, you know? Like the way that all right, here's how I would see, because like in different possibilities of yourself, I would see it as like, it's the same awareness, right, or spirit behind all of them, right? But the way that the consciousness manifests is different. Like in one reality, I can manifest my consciousness to fucking desire having blue hair. You feel me? But inside this one, I have red hair. You know? That's how my consciousness manifests. But it's still my awareness though, right? Just not focused with inside of this timeline, but it's my awareness focused. It's my awareness focused inside of a different timeline, but it's still the same awareness. With twins, it's not the same awareness, you know. Like, it's not the same consciousness. Like they're still kind of separate. They could become very linked though, you know. We actually have seen that, right? But even if they don't, they could be separate consciousnesses when literally you inside any fucking timeline would still be your awareness just focused inside of a different timeline. That's how at least I would see it. You feel me? And I mean, I think that makes sense because you don't like people won't have a dream about being their twin, right? I mean, some niggas might, but people are more likely to have a dream about, like, let's say you have a twin, you guys are biologically identical, right? You're more likely to have a dream about being a whole different version of yourself than to have a dream about you being your twin. The closest you'll probably get is the fact that you'll have a dream where you feel like you are yourself, but people think that you are your twin, right? But you would that's still just a different possibility of you, like. So I think that dreams kind of show us how we're inclined to tap into different possibilities of ourselves, but not different possibilities of other people per se. Some niggas do though, and some niggas do be able to tap into niggas' minds and shit. You know what I'm saying? What niggas might call a psychic or whatever. But you get my point, bro. Let me just watch the video, my nigga. Shit.
Right.
with your twin, I'm not given reason to think you would share consciousness with somebody else who has the
Right.
same molecular DNA construct
Wait, hold up. Yeah, I know why that shit popped
as
up.
you, but in another
But in
freaking
another
universe.
year, right.
There you go. That's
So
my,
there you have it. So yeah, I mean, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
You know, that makes perfect sense.
to even ask what was around before the Big Bang
Mm-hmm.
would be like asking what is north of the North Pole.
What is north of the North Pole?
The question has no meaning.
There you go. Okay, so let me get this straight.
Yeah.
This singularity happens. Boom! A second later, everything else that is
Yes.
inside
Yes.
of that.
Yes.
So time and space, all of that is inside of this thing that now is in existence.
Yes. So that would mean
Oh
that
my-
if
oh.
space is nothing,
Oh, my head is hurting right now because
Wait,
I'm
wait,
trying to think
if you,
about
if you
what
want
is
space to be nothing,
Yes.
you need a word to describe where there is no space.
Wow, dude. We should call that nothing. And we should call what we have something.
Like it's something that's nothing.
Yes.
I feel what they're saying, but I think this is why when you try to go beyond, that's like trying to describe what God is or like what source or spirit is, because niggas have a lot of terms for it. I don't really care what you use, but certain shit you literally just cannot describe. Like, and that's kind of the point. That's kind of the point. The reason why we have life manifesting as it does, from my point of view at least, right? The reason that I believe that life manifests is partially because if you're existing as something that doesn't even fucking make sense, I'm sure you want to at some point actually make sense. So you actually make a creation that has logic and rules and stuff like that, you know? And I don't see the thing that made that as a person. I just see it as you can't describe it, but that thing that is unfathomable wanted to make itself fathomable. I'm not saying it did it from like I'm a fucking person that I want to be fathomed, you know. But I think it's just you have this whatever you have that which transcends all things, and it kind of wants to start transcending all things, you know. Like, you feel me? And that's why you now have shit that can actually make sense. But beyond this construct, shit doesn't make sense anymore. But it kind of just is. You feel me?
Ooh, Chuck invents a word.
There you go.
Something.
Because really nothing is what we're talking about.
That's really what we're talking about.
That's really what we're talking about is nothing.
But now we want to talk about something that is
nothing. That
Ooh.
should be something.
Ooh, Chuck.
Nice. What is around that singularity?
It's embedded in a higher dimension.
Right.
It's like if you're an ant crawling inside this sheet of paper and that's your world, you have no concept of what's above or below it, even though we do, because we're higher dimension.
Because you can lift the paper up and see underneath the paper.
I can see what's
while
on
the ant is still on the paper.
Still inside
but
the paper.
But that ant can never see underneath.
I would call that a different plane. You feel me? They said a different. I get, because even with different dimension, I kind of get that because they're not seeing it as a place. It's because right now this is more 2D. Like it only has length. I mean, only has length and width, right? But it doesn't have any heights. Since we live inside 3 dimensions, we have height. You feel me? But a being that lived inside of 2 dimensions only has length and width. But you see what I'm saying? They live in 2 dimensions. They live in a space that has 2 dimensions. He's kind of just shortening that by saying they're in a different dimension. They're in a dimension that we can't comprehend. They live in a space that has dimensions that we can't comprehend. That'd be I thought this is a more accurate way to say it. They would live in a space that has more dimensions. Because if you live inside this paper, right, this paper's a certain space that has 2 dimensions, length and width, right? We live in a space that has 3 dimensions, length, width, and height, and then the 4th one being space-time. That's how scientists say it, right? You feel me? I would just say time then space, because space-time is just space-time is just the 3 dimensions of space with time. But I think that space itself is a dimension that goes beyond the 3 dimensions of length, width, and height. You feel me? But anyway, that's a whole different video for a whole different topic. God damn, that's a whole different video for a whole different topic. But yeah, when they said they're in a different dimension, they mean like they're like a fucking whole different arena. But it's just they're inside of a certain space that has 3 dimensions. You feel me?
Need that paper.
Oh, you can't see. No, the ant is in the paper.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
No, it's in the paper.
In the paper. Like he can't never
see above or below.
He can never see what's underneath it.
Correct.
That's crazy. So basically what we're talking about, this nothing is really only resident in a higher dimension at the time when the singularity.
No, the higher dimension.
In a higher space with different dimensions. That's why I'll just say a higher plane. It's a higher plane. It's a higher plane of existence. I would have called it dimensions because dimensions are composed. I mean, planes are composed of certain dimensions. That's kind of the point. You feel me? Like our plane, right? You know what I'm saying? This shit. How can I put this, right? The ant that's living on a sheet of paper, right? That's a certain plane. But that plane is actually that plane, right? That paper is inside of our plane, right? You feel me? And our plane, the physical plane, right, has 3 main dimensions of length, width, and height. Now there's also time, there's space, there's light, you feel me? These are all different measurable extents that we have, right? But my whole entire point is the fact that I wouldn't call this a different dimension. I call it a different plane. You feel me? Because the paper's a certain plane, but that plane's is literally inside of our physical plane. And on our level of the physical plane, we have more dimensions than that smaller paper plane. You feel me?
People might say it's embedded in this thing that they call something.
That's why people say that the earth is flat and that is a firmament, because the earth would be flat because the earth exists inside the physical plane, and there's a firmament, aka there's a certain separation that blocks off the physical plane from other higher planes. You can only transcend that with consciousness. You can't like fucking fly. You can't fly physically to another plane of existence. You have to transcend that in consciousness. You feel me?
Right.
Even though if it's nothing to us.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Granted, there could be some kind of fucking portal that possibly there could be like a fucking portal that could transport you to a different plane. I will say that, but aside from that, you get my point.
Life is made of what we call organic ingredients.
Correct.
Those elements weren't around at the Big Bang.
Ooh,
Right.
They were manufactured in the cores of stars,
nice.
of a kind of star.
Right, and stars are made of certain things. Stars are made of particles, and those particles came from the quantum fields, but the quantum fields came from the Big Bang. That's how I would see it. If we're saying that the Big Bang is what is, if we're saying that the Big Bang is what actually happened, right?
Star that happens to then re-release it out into space.
Sweet.
So you have to stockpile generations of these.
Think about it like this. It's like the big, because like when you think about it, right, quantum field theory, when it says that different fields make particles, right, those fields are making different bangs, right? What if the Big Bang was the first bang that allowed all other bangs to exist? You had the one Big Bang, right? You feel me? Then after the Big Bang, you have all these different fields that have smaller Big Bangs that form small particles. You feel what I'm trying to say? The Big Bang is the first bang that led to all other bangs. That's how I would see it.
Supernova explosions that have made these elements and enriched the galaxy. You have to stockpile generations of them so that a later gas cloud
Right.
doesn't only have the hydrogen and helium it was endowed with at the Big Bang, it's got these extra contaminant enrichments. And out of those enrichments, the next generation of star systems will have the ingredients that can make planets and people
That is really very
and
that-
life in general.
I wish that was common knowledge. That what you just said right there is so important in
I agree.
terms of an origin story.
Yes,
It's so important.
it's our origin.
That's also why they say that we come from stars and shit. You feel me? Because they literally said that life is made of organic matter, and that organic matter originated inside stars and stuff like that, and gas clouds and shit. You feel me? That's why we all come from the stars, high key. You feel me?
It's our origin story.
Origin story.
Well, there's more than that too, but that's one heavy reason why. Like biologically, you feel me? On a soul level, we could come from stars for many different. On a soul level, we could come from different stars for other reasons, but you get my point, nigga. I just wanted to highlight that shit because they highlighted that shit. You feel me?
Story of life.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow. Hey man, that's a great question.
That's why if you're looking at very, very old stars in the
Right.
galaxy,
Uh-huh.
it's pointless to try to find planets with life on them. We think.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
5 billion years from now, where
Right.
even more generations of stars have
Exactly.
enriched, could those star systems have so much organic material that they'd be teeming,
Teaming with life. Like
life on Earth. It has only one genesis, as
Right.
far as we know.
Yeah.
Maybe there are planets with multiple genesises
Yeah.
of life.
Like they can't like they're just tripping over life.
Tripping
'cause
over
there's
life.
so much material there to make life.
So much material to make life.
I feel what they're saying on that, in the sense of they're saying it's more likely that newer stars would have newer planets, right? Like for example, because our star is not the oldest star ever. You feel me? But the fact that we have our star, it probably came from like a different star or a different gas cloud that's older than our current star. So it's more likely that stars our age have life opposed to like very old stars, which our star came from in the first place because we had to get more and more. It's like the ingredients had to fine tune themselves. The ingredients had to fine tune themselves through every star and dust cloud and shit.
Yeah.
Wow. Why is everything spherical and curvy in the universe? Spherical and curvy.
I wrote a whole essay on this
Did you?
called "On Being Round."
Nice.
Multiple laws of physics conspire to make things round when you might want them some other shape. And that goes for soap bubbles. It goes for forming planets. It goes for forming stars. So the laws of physics conspire to make this happen. And that essay is an entire exposition on that. And you can just Google.
Dude, you are such a tease because you did
I
not tell
think
this
it's
guy
there.
why.
I think you can get the essay without having to buy the book.
Okay.
Just Google
Neil deGrasse
Google
Tyson.
deGrasse. Just that takes out Mike Tyson in case
Okay.
he wrote anything.
That's right. let me tell you something. First of all, I'm just saying this.
So Google deGrasse and "On Being Round," and that should go straight to it.
I have a book called On Being on the Ground. It's where I bite your ear off and I knock you out. It's On Being on the Ground.
Okay, anyway. We create simulations right now to tell us about the weather, and what it's going to do.
Oh, interesting.
That's exactly what we do.
Yes.
And we do that based on, I say we like I'm a scientist.
Yeah, look the way.
Look at me.
I love the way.
I've
That's
been
good.
hanging out with you guys
Keep
too
going.
long.
Keep going. I'm loving it. Keep going.
But
so
Let go of my hand, boy. Fuck you talking about? Nah, let me stop. I'm just playing around, bro, for real.
the way. That's
I've been
good.
hanging out with you guys
Keep
too
going.
long.
Keep going. Yeah, I'm loving it. Keep going.
But-
so they're called climate models. Is
Exactly.
what they're
And
called.
those models are made the way the reason they know they work is because they're made and tested on data
On
that's
actual-
already happened.
Yeah, that's correct.
So it's so cool. Like you know.
There you go.
Yeah. So all right.
You want evidence when we don't really know what's going on?
Right.
When they say 50% chance of rain.
That's pretty funny, man.
That is the best evidence when that model does
Flip a
not
coin,
work.
right.
It does not work.
That's fun.
Okay.
We got nothing is really what they're saying.
Okay, so in the future, you want weather forecast to be 100% of this or 0% of that.
Right.
Then you know you've got the right.
That was a good point, actually, bro. I'm not gonna lie. That was actually a really good point, bro. Damn. For real, because how don't you really know if it's gonna rain or not? You feel me? Like, you technically don't fully know. It's just possible, right?
Right models.
That's true, because you're really just covering your ass.
You are
That is all you are doing.
freaking A.
50%. Oh my God.
Yes.
You
didn't
dirty
know this?
little weatherman.
You didn't know
you
this?
dirty cheating weatherman.
Every time they give a statistic, they cover in their ass.
50% chance of rain. That just means we don't know what's going to happen. Oh my.
They just know. I mean, but I can't lie though. Like, what, like 50-50 is like, yeah, like it could happen, it couldn't happen. 38% is like it's probably not gonna happen, but it's still possible. But so it's like, they still like a little something, but like they definitely don't fully know in the way that they would kind of want you, in the kind of way that they would kind. I didn't say that they want you to think, but in the way that a lot of people do think, like how I kind of thought about it before he just fucking said that shit. Yeah.
Gosh.
Yep.
Word. I mean, that was an enjoyable video. You know, I think I would I ain't going to fuck it, nigga. I'm gonna just end the video right there, bro. We'll watch this video at some point, nigga. We'll probably watch this video too. I want to watch this, but this shit is bad fucking long. I want to fucking probably watch this shit for niggas. You feel me? What Schrodinger's cat tells us, probably that shit right. I'm about to add these all to the fucking playlist, bro. Fuck you talking about. I'm gonna catch you boys in the next video. I love y'all. I'm gonna catch you on my next shit. Peace the fuck out. You V me.